Welcome everyone to another video, and as I promised on Twitter, I'm going to cover not all, but some of the top Pokemon in Twilight. Some of them, first couple of them I feel like are must use that you should at least have on your team of 6, whether or not you use it in your team of 3 for different battles. It's if I don't see this on my opponent's team, I know I have a huge advantage. So I like to use this website PvPoke or PvPoke or whatever they want to call it. I guess Oak kind of catchy name. Or you can use Poke Battler. Both are great. I like this one because it's like a very easy to sort. So as you can see here, they have a couple different categories here. They have overall, leads, closer, attacker, and defender. And I'm gonna switch to Twilight Cup. So you can see here, Skuntank is rated the #1 overall Pokemon. Best Pokemon against your opponent in multiple roles. They have typing, moves, and stats to succeed in most matchups. As some of you may know, Skuntank is Poison Dark, which means that it's only weak to ground moves. And it's actually quite a tanky Pokemon. And you'll see here, the preferred fast move is Poison Jab. You can use Bite if you want to, if you really want to throw off some of your opponents. But since tournaments you're like locked in the move, I would prefer to use Poison Jab. It's a really, really nice move, really nice balance between damage per turn and energy per turn. And then the preferred moves here are Crunch, Sludge Bomb, and Flamethrower. Personally, I like to run Crunch and Flamethrower. The reason why is that like you would want to run Sludge Bomb if you're going up against a lot of fairy Pokemon. And really, there's only 2 main fairy Pokemon that are used in this meta. One is Azumarill, which is pretty common, and the other one is Alolan Ninetales. But Alolan Ninetales you can take care of with Flamethrower, especially with the buff to Flamethrower. It's actually really quite nice. And Flamethrower is really good against mirror matches, and a really nice move because there's going to be a lot of dark Pokemon in this meta where Crunch is going to be resisted or Sludge Bomb is not going to be as strong. So my preferred moves are Crunch and Flamethrower. And you'll see the key matchups here are Pokemon like Sableye, Alolan Muck, which is a lot of people like to run Alolan Muck, but I think Skuntank is the better option. One, because it has a slightly better stat distribution, and then as well it has cheaper, more energy more lower energy cost moves, and it ends up beating the matchup as you can see here. Alolan Marowak, Nidorina, Mr. Mime, and then it gets beat by some of these Pokemon like Drapion because it's also Poison Dark. Poison Jab's not going to be as effective, but I actually find the matchup not to be that bad. Arios, which I know you're going to encounter that often. Tyranitar, which you may or may not encounter. Beedrill, and Toxicroak. Toxicroak, I think, is the biggest threat, but because of the way Skuntank is its moves, its typing, and all that stuff, it actually does like not bad against Toxicroak, and I'll kind of show you that. And if you look at leads, it's actually the second best lead according to PvPoke after Drapion. As a closer, it's the #1 closer, and the closer is best Pokemon with no shield play, good typing, stats, and efficient moves give them an advantage, which is true. And then as an attacker, it's rated a little bit lower, in this case rated #4. And then as a defender, it's quite a tanky Pokemon, similar to Azumarill being tanky. Azumarill is probably actually a little bit tankier than Skuntank, but it is quite a tanky Pokemon, so it does really well against a lot of Pokemon. So I'm going to show you. I think it's like a really great Pokemon in this meta and beats a lot of the meta and kind of that staple Pokemon that I like to use. And I know it's going to perform well against the majority of Pokemon just because it has like very flexible movesets. And you're going to kind of see this in the 2 battles I had with James. So I'm going to turn it over to the battle and you can hear me talk there. Welcome to the battle portion of the video. And we're going against James, Pokemon Trainer here. And this first video, I'm going to show how you lead with Skuntank, and then how you then close out or use Skuntank in the middle of the battle. Skuntank is one of the best leads, one of the most common leads, I would say. People, PvPoke, as you saw in the previous part of the video, rated Drapion as the highest, which is a great Pokemon too, and I'll be covering that in a future video. But Skuntank with Poison Jab and I have Crunch and Flamethrower is really great Pokemon, as you can see here. It's such a great lead that James is also using it as a lead here. I'm gonna hit it with Flamethrower here. Flamethrower does way more damage than Crunch or Sludge Bomb because it's not resisted, and as well with the buff to Flamethrower makes it a lot better. I know James is gonna use a Flamethrower here, or I speculate that he would. So I did that because I really like Skuntank as a Pokemon to use. And then here I'm going to hit it with Crunch just because it's going to faint it anyways. And as well, it's going to allow it to do a move earlier. So there you go. I'm also going to shield this here because of Flamethrower. So I thought that was a good decision there. That way I wouldn't have faint. And then I have the full energy. Here, he's going to come out with Toxicroak. I stayed in a little too early. I actually should have saved up a little bit more for the Flamethrower so that I could do a little bit more damage, but still did a decent amount of damage there. And I'm going to switch to my Golbat there, right in time for the Mud Bomb. And the Mud Bomb is not going to do very much damage because the flying typing double resist, and then the poison type is single weak, so it results in a single resistance here. So here, I got kind of a little greedy here. I could have got away with the Poison Fang, try to like bait the shield and whatnot, but doesn't really matter too much here. I'm going to get off, burn the last shield of James, and then, man, Frostlass, if it's in the right situation, is just so crazy here. So here I'm going to try to use Skuntank. And the reason I tried to use Skuntank is I tried to get to this Crunch, but unfortunately, Powder Snow just generates so much energy, he's able to get another Crunch here, which is fine. And then here, I'm going to come in with my Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales does, I think Shadow Ball would have been better here, just because it would have been neutral versus being resisted, and Shadow Ball is quite strong as well. So here I'm going to hit a Psyshock, and then that's going to do neutral damage and do a decent amount, almost faint Frostlass. And then here, because I know this Toxicroak already did a Mud Bomb, I know that I'm going to beat it to the charge move here. It would have been a slightly different story if this Toxicroak still had its energy, but I did the switch at the exact right time, so it'd been like a pretty hard not to do the Mud Bomb because you're kind of like tapping away and trying to get towards it. So the Skuntank did a really good job taking care of the other Skuntank and did like a decent amount of damage to the Toxicroak, and as well end up tanking an Avalanche and set it up nicely so that Alolan Ninetales could finish it off. So here I'm going to lead with Toxicroak and then have Skuntank in the back there. So I'll see here Toxicroak versus Skuntank. Great. So here I'm gonna let it do some work and let it do a decent amount of damage. It's gonna switch. I do switch to Venomoth, anticipating another Venomoth, but Venomoth actually does not bad damage here. It is neutral here, and then as well, Silverwind here is gonna be neutral as well. So it's gonna do a decent amount of damage. If he does or does not shield, can't remember what he did in this particular part right here. And he chose the shield. And then I'm going to choose a shield here as well, just because I really like Venomoth. I know that eventually he's going to have a Toxicroak, so it's going to do a decent amount. As well, I'm going to finish him off here with these Confusions. And then he's probably going to bring out Skuntank, just because it's Confusion is resisted because of the double resistance to the dark and then single weak to the poison, which results in, and then Silverwind is neutral, so it does a decent amount there. It's gonna KO me with Flamethrower here, which is fine. I already did a decent amount of damage here. And I figured that he has a Skuntank. Oh no, I figured that he has a Toxicroak. So here I'm just gonna feint his Skuntank here. And then my objective here is just to bait his last shield and do a little bit of damage here. So I'm going to do the Crunch here, figuring that he's going to shield anyways. If he doesn't, I still do like a decent amount. And then there you go. He's going to feint me with this Mud Bomb here. And then I know he already did the Mud Bomb. And I know my Toxicroak already set up a bunch of energy here. And then I think it's like 5 counters to a Mud Bomb. Might be a little less because it's a second move to 3, and then I finished him off. So you'll see there, Skuntank was a really good lead and a really good attacker. So it really did a lot of great work, and I think the best overall Pokemon in Twilight Cup, and I highly recommend that you have it in your Twilight Cup team, at least as part of your team of 6. And if you end up using it as your team of 3, then let me know how it goes, and I will see everyone in the next video. And don't forget to subscribe and like and comment, and I'll see everyone in the next one.